Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 4. We are Why So Sidious. I'm JD. With me are Lub and Andy. There's also another member named Dave out there somewhere. We are at Why So Sidious Pod, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X. In the bio descriptions over there, you could find our actual website link. It's kind of just for fun, but you could find our merchandise and some Meet the Crew stuff. If you like buying comics, panel bound comics, great place to do that. Omnibuses, collected editions at a great price. Use code YSOCities at checkout for $2 off and to help support the show. And one last thing, Q&A. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, we're actually live on YouTube when we do these recordings. And if you're watching live, you could send in a comment and we will answer those live. So don't be afraid to comment in. We'll have a chat. Other than that, Andy, Lub, how did you guys feel about Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 4? It's such a mouthful.
And you do love a mouthful, don't you, JD?
Yes.
Go on, Lab. Tell us your thoughts.
I'm really enjoying this season. So, as I was shamed for on the last podcast I was on, I did miss the 2 and 3 episode, but I was on the premiere. I'm not very familiar with Bullseye. And because I did not watch season 3 of the Netflix show, I only watched the first 2 seasons. I know. Keep it said. But I'm I'm really enjoying him so far. Like, he has kind of an American Psycho vibe in a way where like he's very kind of OCD, but also like a killer at the same time. You know what I mean? And that whole diner scene he had was awesome. And I am still missing the Punisher, but I do think that Bullseye is a pretty good replacement for him so far. And also Daredevil is also killing it in his role. So I am enjoying this season very much.
Wait, but before you say it, Andy, do you guys not get the sense every time someone's about to die, if it's like Daredevil, you feel like somewhere in the back of your head, you think the Punisher's going to come save them. You want the Punisher to come shoot someone and save them. It's like,
I know.
Isn't it? Yeah. Maybe he is in this season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, but he's not. They keep mentioning him, though.
They've
been mentioning him a lot.
Yeah, they have. That's cool.
Yeah.
He has that lasting impact that they need to discuss the way that he does things. So, yeah, I thought this was a really good episode, to be fair. I thought it's been a fairly slow start to the season. It's been a lot of setup, I feel like. And this was a bit more action orientated, even though, again, I don't feel like the story overall has moved too far forward again after this episode. This was more of a Bullseye centric episode, and then a little bit of plot moving along, but again, it was just setting up an exposition. But the Bullseye stuff has been great in this episode. Obviously, the fight at the diner at the start. It's one of those ones where I kind of I've been grilled over the last few weeks online by people telling me that I need to suspend my beliefs in how realistic some of these things should be, because obviously it's superheroes, it's fantasy, it's sci-fi or whatever. And I'm just turning around going, no, I don't believe that would have happened. That's not realistic. And then so I was thinking that about some of the Bullseye fight scenes in the diner, going, there's no way this shit can be pulled off in real life. So does that detract for me, or am I just being a picky English bastard?
The forks,
about this? Dude.
Yeah. He threw that fork hard.
Toothpicks, come on,
bouncing them off the plate to hit the guy. It was ridiculous, but
it's
so yeah, he doesn't have powers at all, right? He's just a marksman.
No. Yeah, exactly. So none of those items make sense. That's a huge thing for me too. I like this show, but yeah, that's annoying. Toothpicks and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So because I've been hounded about that, I was thinking about this. I was watching, because in my head I'm like, this is ridiculous. Some of this action, you just can't pull that off. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should just suspend belief, because it's the MCU. It's not exactly supposed to be realistic. You know, it's gods and giants and magic and all this kind of crap. So, we've got a blind guy going around the streets of New York beating people up. So maybe I should suspend my belief that the Bullseye couldn't pull off a shot like that. But either way, it was still a good fight scene. Was it me, or I kind of enjoyed seeing those like morning routine, which. Because we've seen what it was like some of us would have seen in season 3 of Netflix, what it was like in the mornings. Others wouldn't. So it was good to see a different routine, because obviously we saw what it was like before as an FBI agent. and then we see what he's like now, and he seems a lot more at peace. He's got up his morning routine. He's making breakfast. He makes an egg for the cat next door, and then goes off and does his thing. And in fact, he just wanders into. He wanders into into that diner, and I was like, I've just seen him eat breakfast. Is he going to sit down and eat breakfast again? You little fat fuck. But he's like, no.
Second breakfast.
I'll have a milkshake at 9:30 in the morning, and then kill 10 people. It's fine.
Well, those were the American Psycho vibes I got, because like the whole morning routine was very American Psycho, and also a little bit too much oil in the pan for your egg, man. Like I don't think you need to put that much in there for one egg.
Plus, as a chef of 20 years experience, the way that he flipped that egg twice, that yolk would have broken as well, and it's perfect when he gives it to that cat. So fucking sort yourselves out. I've criticised Marvel heavily on the food side of things. When I used to be on my own show, and some of the things I've seen, I used to get people asking me all the time when they're guests on the show, do you believe that as a chef? And I'm like, no, fucking awful. But we'll skip past that. But yeah, I mean, do you think it was cool, JD, seeing like his morning routine and the way that he goes about things compared to what it was like in like the Netflix show?
Well, yeah, because we did Kingpin's morning routine, at least 2 episodes of that. I love seeing Bullseye not freaking out or being manipulated. No one's manipulating him anymore, right? He's just doing his own thing on his own terms. So it is kind of peaceful seeing such a psychotic man just go through a nice, calm morning routine. You're like, good, no death. But suspending disbelief, I feel like we didn't have to do that much in the Netflix with Bullseye and the Netflix Daredevil, didn't we, Andy? It was like he was using more reasonable items to kill people that could actually like puncture multiple layers of skin. I think they're going too far with it within the Born Again stuff. Like I said, toothpicks. I don't care how hard you blew it out of a straw. I don't care who you are. I mean, like you would exactly love. You would have to have superpowers for that toothpick to actually kill you. So,
right.
And there was a bunch of other items like that. With that said, though, it's fine to suspend disbelief. Like I'll just do the same thing. I love the episode. That's not like that makes the episode that much worse. I mean, I guess you're in a kitchen. You should throw knives or something. I guess you could pick something better than toothpick. Anyway, him calling the task force and saying Punisher's here with a gun was so sick. Not only just like his whole plan, getting them there to kill them, but just him acknowledging Punisher was cool. Like we haven't seen them come on screen together. We haven't seen them acknowledge each other, talk about each other. So him even acknowledging Frank's existence, I was like, yeah, the nerd in me. But then having the task force come to the diner just to slaughter them all was so Bullseye, and that was so sick. And it's also like a super bad guy, super psycho murderer, but point him the right direction. And it's like, I kind of like this guy. I'm going to root for him now. So,
it's almost too similar to the Punisher, though, to where like last season, him and the Daredevil and the Punisher had the same goal in mind, but different plans of getting that goal done. And now they're kind of just replacing Punisher with Bullseye, but doing the same thing, right?
Except now Daredevil has to hate this guy instead of I love you and I respect you, but don't do it this way. Now it's
right?
Like,
It's on site with Bullseye with him because of Foggy. You know, every time he sees Bullseye, he's like, I'm kicking your ass because of what happened with Foggy.
For sure, but it is a perfect like Punisher kind of parallel.
No, it works. He needs that type of character to go against him. Someone who's like a vigilante as well, but doing it in a different way. It's just perfect for a Daredevil character.
Yeah. What about this was Bullseye's episode, but also kind of Vanessa's in a way, right? The way her conversation with the mayor and then how this ends, it was in a way a send off to her. It was kind of Vanessa at her best, having her husband's back, in the face of even like, maybe a higher power, behind his back, even, she's going to have his back. And I like that conversation with the mayor. And of course she eats it at the end. So did you guys see that coming, or were you super surprised?
I was surprised, but also I want to ask, what's her connection with Bullseye? Is that something from Netflix?
No, she's the one that we saw at the start of last season. That she's the one that hired Bullseye to kill Foggy.
Okay, that's what it is.
So she manipulated him because he was like in a mental hospital place,
right?
And she went out and manipulated him into being the one that like goes and kills Foggy. So that's why he's been after her since last season.
Yeah, Vanessa's a very interesting character though. Like so far, where she is kind of the one thing keeping Kingpin under wraps. Where the governor came to Vanessa in this episode and says like, we're two women here. We can talk truthfully. Like, I like what Kingpin's doing, but at the same time, like I need you to kind of keep things clean so people still, support the state of New York as a whole. And losing her is definitely going to make him totally unhinged, which is what we
He's
want.
about to go off.
He's
We
about
do.
to go Homelander.
But they really
He
did have a
is.
true love, which is something you don't see in villains a lot, which is very interesting for the characters, where like they had a genuine love for each other, like not in a kind of toxic, but not super toxic
Not even that
some
toxic though.
for someone like
They were
Kingpin,
supportive,
Yeah,
but of
like
course toxic in the background, like we're criminals and shit.
yeah,
so
right, exactly. It was a rare relationship you see with someone so bad as Kingpin, and Vanessa was, like the governor said, you could have done this on your own. Like you didn't even need Kingpin to do this, but she's like, I met
Yeah,
him,
I
and
don't.
like, I mean, like I
Well,
get
I
what
mean,
she's
you know what
saying.
I mean.
She's ambitious, but
She is ambitious, but it's not like she could. I mean, she was an artist dealer and very successful. I'm not taking that away, but you're talking about the mayor. You're saying you could have
yeah,
got here like Kingpin, and that was all underground shit, like criminal empire stuff that where they made their riches and power to rise to that level. And that's Vanessa would be doing just fine without Kingpin. She'd be doing just fine.
yeah,
She's not like she was in the slums, but she wouldn't like be mayor without Kingpin. So I
Yeah.
don't know what she meant by that.
right. A great dynamic within the two. And do you think she's dead? Right, like dead?
Oh yeah, right. We saw the body and everything, the TV
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah,
But it shows. All right, so the whole Born Again thing is crazy. Season 1 was so much about becoming I'm Daredevil again, I'm Kingpin again, and now it's like, what do you do when you don't have that human side? And Kingpin just freaking lost. They're so committed to Kingpin and Daredevil to the point where we didn't even see Matt Murdock this whole episode. I don't think, unless he was Daredevil, right? Like there's no lawyer stuff. There's no anything except Daredevil. And now he just killed Vanessa. It's just so full blown Daredevil versus Kingpin. I miss the lawyer stuff, but it's also kind of cool and exciting.
and we
to
got
see
a
them
court scene.
commit so hard to that stuff.
We
Yeah,
got a
we still
court
got a
scene
court
with
scene,
no
yeah.
with no Daredevil in it. He's so committed to the, he obviously can't be out in public right now, but there was a court scene and Daredevil wasn't in it, which is very rare for the show. You know what I mean?
Was that episode 4 or 3? What was the court scene in 4? You know
No,
what
it
I'm
might have
talking
been
about?
3. It might have been 3. I'm
Swords,
sorry.
swordsman and all that.
Yeah, it might
Yeah.
have been 3, but still.
But still, they're so fully committed to their alter egos,
Yeah.
like their darker sides. It's crazy. Matthew Lillard's character. What do we think about this? That was an interesting scene. You kind of didn't expect Kingpin to come out on top of that, but sure enough, he did. And does that mean he's going to go back to Val and cause more problems? He's going to have it. You know what I mean? Is that going to amplify the situation? Like he's the middleman in between Kingpin and Val. So is he going to come back with maybe a Thunderbolt or 2 or no? What do you think, Andy?
Unlikely to come back with a
Too far.
Yeah,
Too far. But where do you think that'll go?
It's an interesting one because I don't feel like we were told the truth about his character before the show started. Because we were told that obviously, this new character's coming in. He's going to be more of like a political rival to Kingpin and Fisk, and that's not who he is at all. He's obviously like a CIA operative that's working on the dodgy side of the law with Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. So it's a bit of a weird one that they're going to be bumping heads throughout all of this, and how he plays a role in that. I don't know, to be honest. I don't really know how he's going to fit into this because I can't actually even put it into words because I just don't know where his character's going to fit in this whole period of Daredevil versus Kingpin. And how that comes out. So obviously they're there to use the port. They want to smuggle the guns and stuff out of the country to other places and destabilize them and use that for world domination for the US. So yeah, I don't really understand where his character fits in right now. It's interesting to see their interactions. They've had a couple of good ones, the back and forths. As you said, I didn't really see Kingpin coming out on top of this one because obviously Kingpin does not like to be talked down to. And the fact that then Buck just shoots the 2 bodyguards that are with him as well.
He's sick.
Yeah.
John Buck.
So it's going to be interesting to see how his dynamic unfolds the rest of the series because I can't really pin right now where his role is in this season, and how it's going to affect the outcome, because it's going to some way, isn't it?
Right. Oh, Buck's grown on me because I feel like
Same.
the guy from the Netflix show, what was his name? Who had
Wesley.
this- What was it? Bradley?
Wesley.
Wesley. Yeah, Wesley. He was dope. And then when Buck showed up, I'm like, I don't know about this guy, but that double headshot was pretty sick. But Matthew Lillard's character, it was crazy how Kingpin got the upper hand at the last moment. I feel like he totally had him. Like, what you're doing is wrong. Like, you need to step up and get these guns shipped over to whatever country so we can start this civil war. And like the whole plan they had figured out to probably take over that country and get their oil shipped to us. You know how that goes. But but no, no, but Buck is really growing on me, and the Matthew Lillard character, his voice is kind of, I don't know, his like, because he just reminds me of like Shaggy and all like the comedic characters he's played over the years. So I don't totally take him seriously, and maybe I'm not supposed to. But that's kind of the vibe I get from him.
Does he not seem like a character that was maybe not supposed to be in the show? And, Kevin Feige gives people their freedom to make their show, but like, a couple little notes here and there. I feel like that's one of the notes, like, hey, shove this character into there, kind of connect it to some wider stuff. Cause he totally feels out of place. Right. I
would have
swear he's just like
a different actor would have been better. Just some random person. You know what I mean?
I'm actually good with it. I like his like, kind of
He's
flamboyant,
funny.
but also just
Yeah.
confident, chill, but he has power. I'm actually really digging it. It is weird, but that's because I don't think of him as Shaggy. I think of him as the guy from Without a Paddle. You seen that one?
Yeah.
That's not a bad one.
That's good.
But I actually like him, and it's fun. Like, as the nerd side of me thinks it's really fun connecting that to Val, but it does seem forced. It doesn't seem like he's supposed to be a part of the story of Daredevil and Kingpin and Hell's Kitchen. It seems like, hey, I'm here to connect you to the MCU.
Right. And I know I've been saying I think about Punisher, and I think I mentioned this in the premiere too. I can't stop thinking about Spider-Man. Like, will this show be it? I'm obviously not saying I don't want Spider-Man to show up in the show. Obviously, Spider-Man is not going to be in this show. I don't want him to be in the show. But
this,
will you
and then
be
Punisher, and then Spider-Man, Punisher, and yeah.
But will you be disappointed if there's zero connection to the Spider-Man movie at all? Because
at this point, honestly, a little bit.
Because we're in
It's just crazy.
We're at almost the end of phase 5 now. You know what I mean? Like, phase 1, it was okay to kind of keep everything themselves, but now we're so deep into this universe to where if Kingpin is like making all this mess in New York and like martial law and all that stuff, and Spider-Man is there, no one knows who he is. There should be some connect, because this is a whole connected universe we've been living in. So I'll be disappointed if there's not like the hand is supposed to be in Spider-Man, right? So maybe we get like a hand tease and Daredevil to kind of connect it. I don't want some kind of connective tissue.
Yeah, well, you got Daredevil and then Punisher the week after the finale of Daredevil, and then Spider-Man comes out a couple months where the Punisher is in Spider-Man. So, and then the hand from the Daredevil universe is also in Spider-Man, and he also lives in New York where Kingpin is mayor, or he's going to lose his mayorship. And why do you have the Defenders grouping up after season 2 if Kingpin is gone as mayor? So there's another threat going on in New York. The Defenders are clearly gathering. We got like leaked photos or something, confirmation that Luke Cage and Iron Fist are coming back for season 3. And it's like, there's way too many dots connecting. I really need some Daredevil stuff bleeding into the Spider-Man thing. And they said that a long time ago. I remember they said that maybe 3 years ago-ish, when they're like, we are going to build to a grounded Thanos climactic thing. Like there was at least rumblings of that. And that seems to be what's happening here. Spider-Man being the culmination film for the grounded. I don't know, season 3 of Daredevil. Regardless, it seems like it's connecting.
But you want that, right, Andy? What do you think?
The issue is where does it sit in the MCU timeline? Because I was just having a look up now to see on the Disney Plus app the complete timeline where these shows fit in. But things like Thunderbolts, where obviously the things are there, because we know that obviously what's her face, Allegra de Fontaine has taken Vanessa, whatever, I can't remember her name now.
Valentina. Just call her Val.
Val. she's taken over, obviously, the Avengers Tower. She owns that now, or the CIA or whatever Black Ops thing she worked for. All owns that. And you've obviously got the Thunderbolts, and it's that whole thing of how can you have such. We talked about it before as well. How can you have such massive threats going on in New York and not have like the Thunderbolts or the Avengers or
Same city.
Captain America or Spider-Man jump in and be helping out with these threats? It's that weird thing there where you have such a connected universe that's so far down the line. Early on, you can justify, like in the Iron Man or Captain America films,
Right.
their own contained threat that's maybe threatening the USA or the world, but they're the ones that deal with it. But now you're like 12 years or whatever, 18 years, whatever we are into this universe, and you've got to have crossover threats where these things happen. Obviously, we know the whole rights with Spider-Man that he can't appear in TV shows, but when I was looking at the timeline, because I was like, because we talked, I think, about before about the situation with like the lockdown in New York and the curfew. Did that roll over into like Thunderbolts? Where's that affected the timeline?
Right.
So it says here that at least season 1 of Daredevil Born Again takes place before Captain America, which takes place before Thunderbolts. So,
but season 2 is supposed to take place after Thunderbolts.
Well, that's
what I thought.
I've never seen that. I've never. Oh, I mean, they might have said it to people, but I've never seen that written anywhere. For season 2, so it is a bit like, because otherwise, what was going on in Thunderbolts surely would have been affected by like the curfew and everything that was going on in New York at the time, and there would have been there should have been at least mention of it.
It would make sense if it was in between season 1 and season 2, or potentially.
I mean, but it's a bit of a, like I said, it's a hard one because where there should be crossing over comments or just something to a remark or something just to comment on it, but there isn't. And
I agree.
It's going to be
clear.
Yeah. So season 2 we know is a few months after season 1. So where does that now fit into the timeline? Is it still before Captain America? Is it after Thunderbolts? Because we still don't know quickly in succession how much of a gap was between Captain America and Thunderbolts either. So it's all a bit like the timeline's a bit muddled right now, especially as you said. That's the next issue is that we go into the Punisher special, which shows what he did between season 1 of Daredevil and Spider-Man, and then you roll into Spider-Man, and then we roll into Doomsday. And so how can you have season 3 of Born Again next year when Doomsday after Doomsday? So it's kind of like there is a bit of muddling of the timeline going on right now, and that needs a bit of clarity, I think, because otherwise it does have we do sit here and question this more, going, why is this not affecting this? Why have they not mentioned this? Why has that not happened? When it all seems, because they're coming out so close together in the real world for us to watch them, and we're then putting that logic into going, well, okay, they must be close together in the MC timeline, and it turns out they're like a year apart.
Right. This is AI. AI says AI agrees with JD. AI says it's Daredevil Born Again season 1, Captain America, Thunderbolts, and then Daredevil Born Again season 2 is the start of phase 6. I don't know if that's correct or not.
That's that faulty AI detail thing.
But it does
all
say
the time. It's weird.
Season 2 is after Thunderbolts. That's what it says. So it's gathering things off the internet.
And I would say if Val would only be sending Matthew Lillard to this situation to try to fix it, then it's too low for her to send the new Avengers, the Thunderbolts.
Right.
That's it. That's just trying to like make sense out of it. So, but now that Kingpin did what he did, that's kind of why I would ask, like, maybe now he goes back to Val, and then because maybe couldn't you see at least one, like a Yelena show up?
I could see Val. I could see Val showing up.
I could see Val showing up for sure.
Not the new Avengers, because they technically own Val's arse at the end of the film. Because
good point.
She obviously does the press conference and announces them as the new Avengers, but because of all the shit that she's done throughout that film, they're like, and they've got all that information on her, they're like, we own you now. So yeah, we'll accept this because we've got the Avengers Tower and we get all the financial backing to do this. But at the end of the day, we're not here to serve your criminal purposes. So like Val's probably having to do different routes to do it. So I wouldn't expect her to send any of them, because they'd just be like, I'm not going down to Red Hook to like strong arm some people for you on or Fisk. So I just don't see them doing that, to be honest.
And now that also begs the question, so if this culminates in Spider-Man, which would be massive, how can you not have a Thunderbolt in there in Spider-Man? Because that's obviously going to be the most climactic of whatever's going on in New York. It's in New York.
We can't add any more characters.
I know, that's what I'm saying though. But now It's like we can complain about it for Daredevil, but then that means we got to complain more if they're not in freaking Spider-Man. You
I
know?
know.
They're probably like the Spider-Man, Punisher, and Hulk. I'm sure they can handle it.
Maybe
There
Hulk's
should
in the
be
movie because they need a antithesis to Sentry. That'd be
there should be like a separate Thunderbolt scene in the movie where it explains it. You know, like a scene they film separately or something.
Well, it's just like when you see in the Spider-Man trailer, you see like Punisher and Spider-Man battling it out, but they're doing the military convoy, fighting military convoys against. But they should just have it swing past Avengers Tower, and it's just got like Wyatt's just looking out the window, just be like, "What the fuck is he up to now?" And they just sipping a cup of tea.
That would be perfect.
And he's like, "Bob, go make some lunch for God's sake," and just like that's it.
Yeah, that would work. I'm okay with that.
That wouldn't be bad. There's also they talked about doing like the whole World War Hulk thing. Like I don't know if it was supposed to be in Spider-Man or building up to it. Let's say if that's true, Sentry versus Hulk was a huge part of World War Hulk. Sentry being in Spider-Man, as we just discussed, makes sense. He kind of probably should pop up, even if it is just for the cup of tea. But Sentry versus Hulk, I mean, whether that's realistic or not is something I really, really do want to see. Except the MCU Sentry is so different from comic Sentry because in the comics, he doesn't just turn people into shadows. And if he could just turn Hulk into a shadow, that sucks.
That'd be pretty easy.
Yeah. All right. So the boxing match. Boxing, kind of a theme in Daredevil. His dad was a big boxer.
I have some critiques for the match when you're done.
Yeah, well, I there's not a single boxing movie I've ever seen in my life that feels like they're recording a real fight. Not Rocky, not
Rocky. They're just throwing haymakers at each other.
I mean, obviously not that one, but even Creed and stuff like that. Never seen a box like they're always just movie.
The Fighter was pretty good.
So different from. I don't know if I've seen The Fighter. Is
that Christian Bale and Wahlberg, or is it Wahlberg and?
I have seen that. I don't. Yeah, I don't remember it. Also,
Christian Bale's his brother, and he's the trainer. Christian Bale's like the fighter's brother, and he trains him, and the brother actually fights.
And they're in the slums. Like on the surface, it's the same exact movie as The Warrior.
Yeah,
feels like it. But anyway, it just doesn't ever feel like a real fight. Kingpin, though, it wasn't as bad as I expected. He demolished that guy. I thought he killed him at the end.
It was good action scenes, I guess.
It wasn't that bad. But of course, having Bullseye show up made everything way better.
Yeah.
Like I'm honestly not asking for Kingpin to be in a boxing ring watching him fight. But Andy, how did you feel about it? And did you expect Bullseye to show up?
Well, yeah, we knew he was going to show up. The whole thing was partly planned to get him as a setup for him to show up as well. So
just like the boys.
The fight specifically was part of the plan.
Well, part of it, yeah, because he said that he wanted to call out Daredevil and Bullseye to come to the fight because they want to capture them,
and didn't want Vanessa to go.
Yeah, they've covered every entrance and
that.
Exit, and he's just like, leave the main entrance is the best way to come in and out, though. So therefore, we've got a better chance of getting him. But obviously, he finds a different route in by just throwing his little knives and killing people via, eye through the eye, which is always cool. No problem showing up. Obviously, Daredevil jumping in at the last second as well to save Bullseye. Obviously, predictable as well a little bit. What I saw was an interesting point was that someone said, because obviously you got that whole moment when Vanessa pulls out the gun to shoot Bullseye and he throws the ornament that then Fisk smashes away with the belt that obviously then impales Vanessa at the temple to kill her. And someone online has said that, like, did Bullseye plan that? Because they're like, Bullseye never misses. And so, like did he just sort of think, that this is the way to get her? Because he knew as soon as he got hit that his trajectory was then off. So he throws it in a way that it would get battered and shatter, and she would then get hit by the fragments.
Yeah, right.
It seems a little bit maybe far-fetched, but at the same point, you can kind of see this version of Bullseye doing that. But then Matt obviously giving him a great big hug and shipping out the window to take him away. But seeing how vulnerable Fisk was right in that moment as well, when he realizes what's going on and he's calling for help, and it's not that like deep gravelly voice that Fisk always has. It like went a bit more high pitched and soft. Where he's like, "Help! Somebody help!" So to see that reversal of impact,
he's a simp.
and it's yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought overall it was a good scene. The boxing was fine. I don't really care that much for boxing in real life, to be honest. But watching like a 55-year-old guy
Not
destroy
watching
the world
Fury on
champion.
Saturday.
So watching like a 55-year-old guy smash the shit out of the current world champion seems a bit far-fetched, but it is Fisk, I suppose. So we let
Weight
him.
classes too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like
massive
100
compared to
pounds
the-
more than that guy.
He's
Like
pounding-
literally,
it's
they
like-
showed the stats.
It's like me pounding on love, really, isn't it? So
No, but
Like it.
it said it's a no mouthpiece. He said no mouthpiece at first, which is crazy. And then it said it's a 3-round boxing match, which is crazy. He's even like the Mike Tyson Logan Paul was like 8 rounds for 2 minutes or something. You know, saying it's a 3-round boxing match. That's like
it was a
like
charity
MMA
match, though,
only.
wasn't it?
yeah, right.
It's the mayor. It's an old mayor. It's
I do like how the other guy was like got pretty pissed. He's like, okay, it's gonna be like that. I thought we were gonna kind of do an exhibition. You're here trying to fucking kill me, which you almost did at the end. But Kingpin, pretty solid boxing skills. I feel like it did help him when he's gonna go against Bullseye and Daredevil later in the season. I feel like this was kind of a way to make him feel powerful again. Like, okay, he's a little bit older than Bullseye and Daredevil, but he's still got some power, and there definitely was some AI muscles going on when he was punching, because maybe Vincent D'Onofrio was really that buff. You think he's really that buff at like 60?
not anymore, because he said
Yeah.
he said before filming season 1 that he was struggling to put the weight back on to be
Right.
the Fisk size that he was previously. So he's like
Yeah, that was CGI.
Some of the bits are a bit padded and a bit of like computer work. So
Yeah. He looked
Fair
good though.
enough.
It made me feel worried for Daredevil. Like Kingpin could actually go up against him, so it worked.
That's always been kind of a thing with Kingpin, even in the comics. And like, they never. Why is he supposed to be so strong? Like they say in the comics, like he has a freaking heartbeat that's different from other people. Like he's just got this massive strength, but they never give any reason for it. But also,
Well,
that's kind of like Bullseye.
Mm-hmm.
And they never
Andy,
really
in
give a
the
reason for
video
that.
game, Kingpin's like comic book version where he's a freaking monster, right?
yeah. That's always like a massive Dorito, isn't he? He's just-
Yeah. He's a brick.
Into the Spider-Verse, same.
yeah.
Right, exactly. Very similar.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else, where do you think this is going to go, Lub? Like, what are we looking at here soon? We also got this thing where Matt Murdock, or good God, Charlie Cox on socials, he spoke on this comic book called The Devil in Cell Block D, and that was Ed Brubaker comic. Super good comic. He's in jail, along with maybe a couple other recognizable names. And he has to hide his identity while surviving in jail. So he's gonna beat some people up, like when he could do it in the right time when no one's looking. But
Right.
he has to tread that line. Pretty fun comic. Right after Bendis, legendary Daredevil comic. And Punisher, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, for the comic. Punisher ends up in that same jail to help him get out. And it makes me wonder if they are actually going to all be if they're all going to end up in jail at the end of this. If we're talking about that comic, that's Daredevil in jail. So
Yeah.
can you see season 2 ending with all the heroes like actually in jail? But then where does that put Mayor Fisk if he's not mayor anymore, as we know he's
Right.
not because of the Spider-Man trailer?
Right.
Does he keep control underground or something?
I'm excited to see the dynamic between Daredevil and Bullseye, because if they're both in jail together, that could be a really cool way for them to kind of hash things out to where maybe they can see eye to eye in a way they haven't before, where it's not on site every time they every time they see each other. So that would be a cool way to expand their relationship, because I do think there's something there that could be different from him and Punisher, which would make the season better for me. And then Fisk losing Vanessa, like that's going to be something crazy to see, where maybe he meets with the governor after Vanessa's gone and he has a totally different, style. And she's just like, oh God, like what the hell is going to happen now? Because I just had this conversation with her where I was, things were going to be settled down a little bit, and now things are going to go off the rails. So I'm excited for the rest of the season. I think this could be the best Marvel show, like in the MCU show.
If it keeps this quality, it'll reach number 1.
Yeah.
Right above Loki or WandaVision. I don't know.
Loki. I say Loki's number 1.
Yeah. Andy, how you feel about it?
I'm going to disagree with Lab about the bullseye stuff. I mean, first of all, I don't think they'll go to the comic route where they end up in prison. I don't think they'll do that because I don't see them how they get to that situation and get Fisk out of being mayor by the end of it. Fisk's going to have a Homelander-style downfall throughout the rest of the season after Vanessa's death. He's just going to spin out more and more and more. He's going to get more extreme before maybe the governor has to try and start stepping in. Whether Matthew Lydiard's character has to step in as well. And obviously the face off against Daredevil and whatever help he has at that time, because he's obviously starting to build the army. He's got himself, he's got Angela Del Toro, who's obviously going to be the new White Tiger. We know Jessica Jones is coming in, so I don't see him going down the prison route, but I don't want to see it where him and Bullseye get to a place where they can be okay with each other. Or Matt's okay with Bullseye. I want them to be like, it's on every time we come face to face, because I want to see Matt have progressed. Like, it's not necessarily a good progression, but a point where he's like, he just won't forgive him for the Foggy stuff. You know, it's I guess it's in Matt's religious side that he eventually finds a way to move on from something like that and let people or his aggressors move on as well. At the same point, I don't want to see that. I want to see that dynamic of them just going at each other every time, and that long-term game between the two of them, because we know Bullseye's back for season 3 as well, so he's not going to get killed off at any point in this season. So I want to see that ongoing rivalry, that hating dynamic between the two of them continue, because it just makes it more feisty every time that they come face to face. And just because I don't, again, it's like a character arc of redeeming Bullseye. Like, I don't think he should be redeemed, to be honest. They should just even though
never.
He's obviously seeking.
He's a cold-blooded murderer.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen he's been seeking absolution in this season, and he's just like, one good deed, taking out Fisk will help redeem the bad things I've done. I'm like, no, not really, mate.
No.
So I want to see that continued dynamic. Where it goes the rest of the season, I think, like I said, the Fisk downfall will spiral and get worse and worse. New York will actually become worse and worse because of it. And the town will obviously start hating Fisk and turn more towards Daredevil, as they realise he's not the villain that he's been made out to be by the Fisk administration. And obviously Jessica Jones coming in, so she's obviously going to be helping out big time on that front. So yeah, I don't really know how they're going to end it, but it's going to be just more of a Fisk spiral. The city turns back towards Daredevil, and they get him out eventually.
Bullseye can never redeem himself. That'll never happen. That's totally his character. He's the psycho murderer that is never, like, it'll be fun to go to breakfast with him for a second there, but you got to get out of there because people are just going to be dying soon. I will say, though, back to that comic that Charlie Cox referenced. Good Lord.
Baby.
Bullseye. Big part of that. It was like one of the issue 1 or 2 or 3 endings. Like, they're stuck in jail, things are dramatic, and then all of a sudden Bullseye gets brought in a straitjacket, and they're like, oh, shit just got a little crazier. And if you end up throwing all the heroes, I do see it, Andy. I think they're all going to end up in jail for some reason, just because of the way he referenced that book. And that would be a good reason why he's out of Spider-Man, why Bullseye and Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist are not in Spider-Man. But who knows? Could see it either way. That seems like a weird way to end it. If Kingpin loses his power, how are they actually still in jail? Unless he finds a way to put them in jail, before he loses his mayorship. But yeah, Bullseye was an exciting part of that comic too.
Did they kill him? Does he die?
No, he ends up being a
no. I'm saying
mixed
Kingpin. Does Kingpin die at the end of the season?
No.
Oh no, I don't see him dying.
No, they just said the Mayor Fisk storylines will be done and dusted. It doesn't mean Fisk is done and dusted.
Okay.
I think he's going to be like more powerful and darker than ever after he loses his position as mayor. I kind of see that coming. Whilst the Defenders have to straight up unite after this, even if they don't, it just seems like him losing all of his power. Roots. He just lost Vanessa. He's going to be like the craziest gang empire guy ever.
Well, there was a heavy rumor going on today that apparently Luke Cage will be running for mayor in season 3.
Yes, that happened. Zdarsky Comics, yeah.
Yeah.
Zdarsky, Daredevil, Luke Cage, mayor. That'd be cool. Okay. Anything else on the episode?
That's good.
All right.
Nope, just didn't expect Vanessa to be the one that got killed off.
That was crazy.
So that was it's like watching A-Train die.
Big death this week.
Boys. So yeah, lots of unexpected deaths this week.
You guys are liking this more than season 1 quite a bit, like me. I think it's way above. I think it's like Netflix quality,
Not-
damn near.
Not way better, but it's definitely elevating from season 1 and continuing the story and making it better. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's
Yeah.
been better so far than season 1 because obviously we've had half the season, but the first 3 episodes have been super slow. This is the first episode that's kicked up a little bit in gear, but for the most part, this season's been quite slow. I mean, we're still, in my opinion, nowhere near the quality of the Netflix series. They are so
Fair.
up and away clear because we talked about like as MCU shows, whether it be like Loki's #1, this show could potentially be #1. If we're now including the Netflix versions because they're canon, they're the ones that are at the top of the list, way clear.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's got a long way to go to hit up to the Netflix side of things. But I get a feeling that they're finding their feet still in terms of the story they want to tell, because it's been an ongoing story that's covering several seasons rather than just a self-contained like one season storyline. And so I'm sure the quality and the battles are going to pick up, because I just want to see a bit more fighting right now, to be fair.
Fair.
I like it.
Well, all right. Stay tuned for our coverage of a lot of the stuff coming out. Maul, The Boys, Daredevil, Weekend Geek coming out Sunday. We're going to record our next Road to Civil War project on Sunday.
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars, not Civil War.
What did I say? Secret War, Civil War.
You said Civil
Secret
War.
Wars coming up to
We're
Doctor
going
Doom,
back a
maybe.
No, Road to Civil War isn't a politic podcast.
Yeah, we're going to try to finish Time Runs Out, because that's basically exactly how Doom becomes Emperor God Doom, which is exactly how the modern Secret Wars starts. So we expect Doomsday to end very similarly to Time Runs Out. So we'll try to get there before Doomsday. And we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us on Why So Sidious.